Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to this edition of the Racing Insiders podcast. I am your host, Kate Dillon, along with my co-host, Steve Hendren from Hendren Racing Engines. So, Steve, how's your day going today?
It was good till like 20 minutes ago. Well, actually, it was still kind of, I don't know what you'd call it.
Well, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so like I went to meet a friend after work and have a couple beers and then, head over here, obviously, and do the show. And like just before I left, like some dude ODs on the bench outside the front door of the restaurant. And it was like five cop cars and freaking ambulance and fire truck and all that shit. And it took like 2 shots of that Narcan crap to bring the dude back.
Wow.
And then he was just sitting there like all stoned looking out of his gourd as they're like trying to talk to him and all that shit. It was something else. Hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Yep.
That's a new one. And just hanging out on the bench outside of the restaurant?
Yeah, I guess. I had literally been out there like, God, 5 minutes before, 8 minutes before.
Uh-huh.
Because I took a picture of, I did my normal
People who park badly photo that night. And I just happened to take the photo right where the dude was at when I went out the door the next time because my friend went out to smoke and said, hey, this dude's ODing, and we went out and watched. It's like watching a train wreck, I suppose. It was a total train wreck. That is crazy.
Yep.
Oh, you did have I am not really on Facebook a bunch, you guys, but I really liked one of the pictures that you posted where it was a truck with a trailer hitch backed into a spot that went right against the sidewalk. And I think your words were like, that was a total dick move.
There's
and
the one from the night.
Well, I mean, okay, can I finish a sentence?
Yes.
Oh, is the same deal where somebody has got a trailer hitch? I mean, I can't quite tell. I don't know. I mean, people aren't going to be able to see it, but I can't tell what's going on in that picture. Describe to us what's going on in this picture.
Well, it's like backed up. Assholes want to back in here for some reason. Nobody knows how to like pull in front ways, apparently.
Right. I guess
so they all got to back in.
Yeah.
And so basically the entire sidewalk's blocked with the trailer hitch hanging out over the place where you put your cigarette butts and right next to a bench there. So there's like no way to get through there.
Wow.
Because people are fucking retards when they park.
Well, I mean, I think rather than just, they should be told because that's actually a hazard at that point. Hippie, you can't step on the keyboard.
Yeah. He just flipped us upside down.
Hippie I don't even know how to unflip us upside down. So that's not fun.
I think he hit like one of those buttons up there.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Maybe it's this one.
There
we go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Pippi hit a button and my entire screen was all upside down.
So anyways, so I started this whole album on my new Facebook page because my last one got banned. That is like, bad or what, I can't remember what it's
People
called.
who can't park.
People who can't park daily thing that I post.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that'll get you less trouble than the other things that you used to post.
Yeah. Hunter Biden stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Which is the reason why you got kicked off of Facebook for sure. Did you see did you see the Twitter files have been released now?
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, so we got some comments here and some of them talking about our trailer hitch here. So Scott's here from California. He says shop Crate Insider for Christmas. Yes, I have the perfect thing too. Especially for any racer in your life. One of the perfect things to buy is the fireproof underwear. I don't know. I shouldn't say fireproof. It's probably fire retardant, but an underlayer that you can wear under your driving suit. It is fire resistant, so it adds an extra layer. Exactly. We have the tops and we have the bottoms and we have socks as well. And I think they'd be pretty comfy to hang out in too.
Well, I think most of that stuff has also got like cooling capabilities as well. So.
Oh, yeah. Well,
in other words, it wicks the sweats.
Yeah, it's wicking. Yeah. Yep. And J. Mike Burns is here. Howdy, Kate and Steve. Hello, Mike. And James points out a great comment here about the trailer hitches in sidewalks.
Absolutely.
Kneecap bombs. Well, in fact,
and you fell victim to that one time.
Oh, I did, and I was pissed. And it was somebody who had backed into a spot.
Yep.
And I was in a dark part. It was dark when I was going back out to my car. So they had backed into a spot, and I am head on into a spot. So like we could have trained right through that. And so I come out of the restaurant and I walk around their truck to get to the driver's side of my car, and boom, just like slammed me in the shins. It was terrible.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and Mike's like, yeah, you don't know pain until your shin meets a trailer hitch.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, and Brian's like, looks good here. I guess we weren't upside down on streaming, so that part's good.
On our end, it was.
It was just my whole screen was flipped. I didn't even know that was a thing. Kevin's here. Hey, y'all, from South Georgia. So welcome. Yeah, we got California. We got Georgia. Love it. And Darren's here. He says, hey, kids. And Brian says, Elon Musk says he didn't hang himself. I love it. And Gary's here. So if Gary's here, Susie probably is too. So nice to see you guys. And hey, we got a question for you, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin says, what's the wait time on a 602 engine?
Like a new one or freshen up?
Yeah, that's a good question.
New ones, honestly, I can do a little bit faster. Freshen up stuff right now, I'm about 6 weeks out.
Gotcha. Well,
and really on new stuff, I probably am too, just because the way the lineup's going. Because we do everything in line when the order is received. In other words, when the engine shows up to get freshened, it goes in line. When the order is received, it goes in that same line. So it's roughly about the same, honestly.
Well, you guys kind of do things in batches as well. So
I try to, yeah.
You know, like a few new ones, and then next week it's the refreshes and back and forth.
Yep.
Now, what about if a person just wants to order a 602? Are they pretty readily available at this point?
602s are readily available, yes.
Good to know.
But they've gone up again in price.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Well, I just checked.
From what I was selling them for, they've gone up again on price.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me, but the map price, I actually just got another price list like on Friday evening. Right. So I had to go through all my Chevrolet Performance stuff, and I didn't have to change any prices today. This is the December pricing. Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous.
Yep. And Kevin says he was looking for new.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, new, honestly, probably about the same amount of time. Just the way I've got stuff in there. I think I've got 26 or 27 engines in there right now.
And you say you're about, 6 weeks out, you said?
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. And James says, hey, y'all, thanks for the caps. You are welcome. Absolutely. And I had to tell you, Mike, J. Mike Burns, his email got stuck in my junk folder. Mm-hmm. And then plus both guys needed -20 caps. So,
gotcha.
So now I have to order some more and
all right.
Get them out. So it's a little delayed, but I haven't forgotten about you, Mike. And Kevin says, thank you. So cool deal. Yep. Well, of course, the big thing in the racing world, Well, did you watch the Gateway stuff?
Actually, I'd like to bring something up. And I got this call from Vicky Emig earlier today, and Matt Molly has passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, he's the owner-operator of Pittsburgh's Pennsylvania Motor Speedway, where I have my dad's memorial race every year. And, yeah, it's a sad day.
Oh, my gosh. So. I had no idea. That's really shocking for me. Mm-hmm. And we just saw him in October.
Exactly. And Vicky had just talked to him a couple days before on the telephone. So.
Well, I know he struggled with some health issues, but didn't expect.
No, it was a big shocker.
Oh, that sucks.
So
what a good guy. I mean, the whole family, but it's always Matt that we've always dealt with at PPMS.
And Miley's are really good people, and it's a sad day. So
yeah, it really is. So obviously,
but yes, I did watch Gateway.
Yeah, Godspeed. And
I didn't watch it. I watched it after the fact.
Okay. Do you have any comments on that?
On Gateway?
Mm-hmm. Not the controversy. I think that can.
Yeah, the controversy that can go either way.
But in the end,
I built Huddy's motors for years on crate stuff, so I'm a Hudson fan. So my opinion would probably be a little bit skewed on that whole incident. But I'll leave that one alone.
That was a heat race.
But as far as like Tyler Erb winning and his dad passing away and all that stuff, I think it's fucking amazing. So
yeah,
congratulations to him.
If anybody hadn't heard, so Tyler Erb did win the dirt late model portion of Gateway, but what he hadn't told anybody is he was already there in St. Louis, and his dad passed away on Wednesday.
Yep. And
they decided just to move forward. I mean, it was he and his mom decided to move forward and not say anything. Yep. People kind of were asking, hey, Tyler, where's your dad? Oh,
yeah.
And he's like, oh, couldn't, whatever. Excuse he made up. And then after the fact, we all learned that his dad had passed away and just went on and focused and won that race, and so obviously that meant a whole
sure.
hell of a lot. So I don't know. I don't know Turbo myself. I have never met him.
I have personally never met him. I know him third party through like Bronson, you know, something like that. But
I haven't heard anything negative about him. But,
no, I mean, not for the most part.
I mean, I just haven't. So
yeah. He's like any race car driver. We can do some crazy shit sometimes, and other times we don't. So.
Oh, do you see the surprised look on my face? This is my surprise look now.
Right.
All right. Oh, yeah. And there's so a couple other comments here. Alan's here, Alan Bradley.
Yep.
Fantastic Schaefer rep if you need some Schaefer oil. Yep. He says, good evening from the first state and home of Biden. Delaware's gain is the country's loss.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. But Brian said Kenny Wallace won the B main. I did see that highlight as well. And it's always fun to see Kenny Wallace fired up about anything.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that he was just
super excited. He's a cool ass dude.
Yeah.
He kind of says it how it is to a point. Now he's got to be a little bit PC sometimes, but for the most part, he's pretty out there.
Yeah, he is. I've got a lot of his stuff. And again, I haven't met him personally, but he it would be pretty hard in the hundreds of videos that he's done and all of his tweets and everything else. It's pretty hard to hide your personality at some point.
I liked his commentary back here a month or two ago about old Bubba and Larson.
Oh yeah, I did catch that. Yes, that's a tell it like it is situation for sure.
I like those kind of people.
Oh, Mike says, I heard a donated 6-pack of beer can speed up the line a bit, at least for one engine. Yeah, I think it's a cute opening offer, but I'd start with a 12-pack.
Yeah. Yeah, then I'd go to some East Tennessee moonshine, and that might get you even more favors.
I love it. And Tommy is Kenny Wallace energy is second to none.
Absolutely.
That is the truth right there. Absolutely. And Brian said the woodshed was in the back of the pits.
Right.
And Mike's like, "Oh, good on the Caps. Kadar racing doesn't start until the end of April." Yeah, you got a little bit of time, but yeah, we'll get those. We'll get those out to you. Oh, the whole giveaway thing was so much fun last week.
Yeah.
That I decided to bring something else to give away.
Nice.
Today, and what we have is Daytona 1 has these cool keychains. And what was inspiring about these, or what inspired these, it's funny. They kind of look like the pull tags on a fire suppression system.
Yeah, they do.
Is what they look like. But where Buck from Daytona 1, he had first gotten one of these that he just fell in love with was from NASA. And he had that on his key ring. So then he started doing some research to find out where he could get them made. So we've got a couple of different styles here. Got this red one that says Daytona1.com on one side and Racers Start Your Engines on the other. And then the other one says Daytona 1. And I guess it says Racers Start Your Engine. So one just has black trim, is all black. And the other one has some red trim. So I figured we'll give them away on the show here today. We haven't decided. Cool. We don't have any hard trivia questions or anything.
No, we're not going to use trivia.
Yeah. So we'll
just give them away.
Yeah, we'll think of some reason to, I don't know, like whatever, type something into the chat or something that we'll get there. We'll get there. That's going to be the giveaway.
You're the expert giveawayer because you did your top 5 Tuesday for, gosh, what, 2 or 3 years until you finally stopped doing it.
Yeah,
and you're giving away stuff every time on that show.
Oh yeah, I gave away T-shirts and caps, and I gave away all kinds of stuff every single week. I started that show, went live from January 2018 until was it last year, or when did I quit this year?
You quit this year.
Yeah. So all of 18, 19, 20, 21. So over 4 years, every single Tuesday.
And of course, when you told me about you were going to do that, I'm like, that's a stupid idea.
Well, then I was, as far as going live, I was so terrified about the whole going live and being on video situation that I purposely did it at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, so it would catch the least number of people possible. but hey, it worked out. A lot of people would catch it. Well, it actually worked out just fine because the people on the East Coast may or may not be there live, but all the way through the West Coast, maybe catch somebody at lunchtime and in the mountain times. So that's good. Let's see. So the first 4 people that type in Daytona 1 into the chat, then you win a keychain. So I'll call them out as I see them. So I know there's like a little 15-second delay or whatever, but type in Daytona 1 and like the first ones that get them, then we'll get those sent out, and then I can bring up my email address and send you my address and all that good stuff. Gary Benfield is our first winner. So 1 for Gary, 1 for Tommy Groover, love it, and Darren Valentine, and Tony Lindsay. So there's our 4 right there. Yeah. So you guys that I just called your names, if you would, please send an email to me. There we go. Kate at CrateInsider.com. Send me an email with your address so I know where to send it.
Right.
And I'm just gonna drop these into like a little postal envelope and send those out to you guys. And thank you so much.
There you go.
Appreciate that. That was easy.
Yeah.
And
I like easy.
I like it. Yeah. I like easy. Well, and since we're talking about Daytona 1, what is your favorite Daytona 1 product?
Honestly, it's hard to say. Probably his engine oils.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Seriously. I mean, just because that's what I deal with all the time. I use a lot of his product at the shop. Hell, I use it in my own damn streetcar. So there's, I mean, God, Buck doesn't make anything bad.
Well, no.
I'm not just sitting on here trying to just shill for Daytona 1 because, I mean, Buck is a good friend of mine, but he's one of the most straight up people I ever met my entire life. Rocket scientist, smart, obviously because he's in the NASA Hall of Fame, but like somebody you can just like have a down to earth conversation with, and he doesn't talk over your head, and he explains things in a way that I can understand because I'm not a chemist, things of that sort. So, but honestly, I mean, the guy doesn't make a bad product.
Well, I love the story about when you first met Buck, because there was another racer that had told you, oh, I got this guy and he's got this stuff and it's like really good. So tell us a little bit about that first situation.
I mean, my first impression on anything is always snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
So, I'm always hesitant to go with anything that, somebody claims does this or does that. And so, when I first got in contact with Buck, I'm like, all right, well, I got a chassis dyno, come here and prove it. And he did. So, and the very first thing I think we dealt with him on was his engine oil additive.
The XL1 engine treatment.
And no, he proved it on the dyno. It makes a difference.
And you were mostly just figuring that it was just like it was not going to work.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, you see all this gimmicky shit over the years. You see Slick 50, you see, this person's oil does this or that person's oil does that, and I don't care what it is, whatever lubricant or anything like that, and it's like, yeah, okay, because I've tried it and it doesn't fucking work.
Well,
but like when you try something and it actually fucking works, you become a believer.
Well, it always depends on what you're comparing it with. Is
correct.
And so, it's easy to say, oh yeah, we put this on the dyno and it made 40 more horsepower. Yeah, compared to what?
Right.
And
yeah, I mean, as the old saying goes, if I could, get 3 or 4 horsepower from everything I added to the engine, then I'd have a 600 horsepower crate motor.
Right.
I mean, that's not the case. So it's baseline testing versus a product to show what that product can do.
Yeah, and for me as a non-race car person, it's hard to pick, but the most versatile and what I reach for all the time is the glass cleaner. I mean,
the glass cleaner is fucking amazing.
It's so good, and I have to have them. I have to have them all over the place.
The best damn glass cleaner ever.
It really is. It really is. So it's I'm somebody who does use a glass cleaner a lot of times on countertops or surfaces or whatever.
Well,
it leaves their streak-free shine.
Look at what he did with his additive for the air conditioning system in the city of Daytona buses.
Yeah.
He saved them thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Because his additive to the AC system in a bus, it could be a car as well. It gets rid of the parasitic drag that is automatic with like the oil in the system and everything.
Right.
So it gets rid of that. So basically it shears the lines.
Okay.
Or doesn't shear the lines. It basically gets rid of that stuff that gets stuck to the inside of all the lines.
Oh, okay.
And makes the cooling system more efficient. And like,
crazy.
Oh, it's just unreal how much money you save. Like, City of Daytona uses this stuff. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, the NASA space program.
Oh, NASA uses this stuff. Yeah.
And Brian says, I use his rod end spray on the throttle heims and the oil additive. Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Yeah. So the spray lube.
The spray lube is amazing. I actually use that. Now, if you want to like prolong the life of drill bits and cutters, I use that stuff on everything in my shop.
And you've used it for years.
And I've used it for years. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when you're talking like you're doing production style work, in other words, you're cutting 4 blocks a day, 2 sides of the block, deck surface, and you're talking cutters running across that can get quite expensive when you're like replacing cutters all the time.
Yeah. And
we have literally like tripled the life of our cutters by using his stuff. Drill bits, same thing.
Nice.
I mean, just on the CNC seat and guide machine, same thing. Triple the life.
Wow. That's great. And we got a question here from Darren. He says, have you heard of using 1.3 rockers for engine break-in? Is that just parts catalog companies trying to sell stuff you don't need?
I've heard of that. That's been a thing for quite a while, honestly. And I mean, it's nothing I'd buy, really. I mean, I've seen guys use that stuff. I've personally never used it, but I've seen guys use that stuff. And I mean, if the cam core sucks or the lifter sucks, it's going to go flat anyway, regardless of what you're using.
Good to know.
I mean, it's nothing that I've ever done, honestly.
Great.
And again, I've seen guys do it. And
yeah.
Talk to guys who've done it. And again, if the cam core sucks, if the lifter sucks, it's going to go flat.
All right, I got a comment from Tommy. He says, this crate motor stuff is kind of new to me, running in the Northeast open wheel 602 Sportsman.
Oh, cool.
Well, welcome to our show. So these are the type of things that we talk about every time we're on. Yep. Is all of our 602, 604s, pippy tails in the camera. For everybody who's just listening to the podcast, my cat is standing so that his tail is blocking the camera because he is He likes
cold
attention.
Outside tonight, so he's like perfectly happy being in here.
He's so cute. He's so cute.
What you doing?
All right, Alan is here. He says, hi, guys. I wasn't able to see all of last week's show on radiator caps. We used to think a radiator cap with 28 to 30 PSI would possibly be hard on a head gasket, water pump, etc. Can you give me better advice on what we were thinking? I understand the reason for higher rated caps, but would you still be comfortable with a 28 to 30 PSI cap?
Mostly what it came down to wasn't necessarily it wasn't on the engine side of things, it was on the radiator side of things. So a lot of the radiators back in the day, they were not built to withstand, high pressure. So, that's why you saw, God, I mean, go back to the 1980s when I started racing. I mean, we were using like 15 to 20 pound caps because radiators were not built to withstand that pressure, and so they bulge the tubes and things like that. Nowadays the radiators are built to handle that. Matter of fact, there's some out there where you can actually pressurize the system, which is technology, I think. All right, you gotta knock over the damn thing. I think that's technology that's been passed down from NASCAR, but there's I've got no problem running that on modern radiators. And I don't care whether you're running ARTS or you're running AFCO or who you're running, radiator-wise, they're all built for that nowadays. Well, and the tanks and everything else, because the tanks bulge, and I mean,
yeah, it's really the heat that's more of a problem than the pressure. In fact, you've even got pressurized systems.
Well, that's what I was bringing up. Yeah,
I think if he just caught part of what we were talking about last week. One thing that I found fascinating about the radiator caps, and I think this is good to reiterate for anybody who didn't hear it or
Correct.
Can't hurt to hear it again, is that what we really like about the ARTS caps, which, by the way, I need to order some because we totally sold out the next day, but that Art found when he started testing the radiator caps, because they come out from another supplier, and he built a dyno to test the pressure, and that they would be all over the board. I mean, there'd be some that instead of a 28,
they're rated. Yeah, they're rated at that.
They're supposed to be rated for that, but
it could be 18.
It could be 8. It could be 58.
Right.
I mean, it was all over the place.
All over the map.
So now, anytime he gets radiator caps in, he tests all of them and just ditches the bad ones.
Yeah.
So, the problem is too, is your 28 to 30 cap, is it a 28 to 30 cap?
Yeah.
And so that's an important thing.
Yeah. I mean, just depending on
the precision.
If you buy it from him, you're getting the right pressure cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you also don't run into this scenario. Like I talked to him, a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about caps, and you run into a scenario where you got the cap like freaking spun down on the radiator all winter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a spring. So it's like a valve spring. It's like anything else. And if that thing's freaking collapsed all winter long, it's going to lose tension because it's only spring steel.
Right.
And, they're not made to last forever. And a lot of guys make the mistake of, I just bought my 28 to 30 pound radiator cap. It's going to last me for 5 race cars or 5 years or, 5 engines or whatever. And that's not the case. So it's one of those items you need to replace probably several times a year.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the other.
And it's cheap. I mean, shit. What's radiator cap? Not
right.
much.
Well, I mean, it's definitely one of those parts that can fail and cause you problems. It's just like the 50 cent water pump gaskets. And, so some of the things to replace on a yearly basis would be radiator cap. I don't think everybody knows that spark plug wires are consumable. They should be replaced on a yearly basis.
I believe they are. And there's wires that go longer than a year. So I'm going to say, like, if you're running a high-end wire, it's probably good for at least 2 years. But after that, you need to replace it.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, because it's pretty easy to think about the consumables as any of the fluids.
Right.
But there's some of these small parts that are just part of that cross and T's and dot and I's. Yeah. Absolutely. We've got some more comments here. Let's see. And Mike says, Tommy, if you need parts and or products, Crate Insider is a great place to order from. Thank you for that. Thank you for that compliment. Oh, that reminds me. We just got a Google review for, if you Google my business, Google Crate Insider, and somebody left a 5-star review over there. Awesome. And we've never really pushed for like the Google reviews. Yeah. Wow, that word is so hard to say. Google. But if you feel like it and you find yourself over on the big Googler machine there, then and want to hit that up and give us any ratings, we sure appreciate it. Especially 5 stars. Always makes it good.
Well, never mind. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay, that's probably for the best. I don't know what it was, but I'm guessing that's not.
Yeah, no, it was inappropriate.
All right. So Brian says, I've run a pressurized system, holds up no problem.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, CNR, I've run CNR stuff before and ran the pressurized deal. And I mean, that works great as well. So great.
Oh, Brian Littleton is here from Race Logic.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course, we've talked about Race Logic quite a bit on the show here. And I love doing the Race Logic chassis seminars. Pretty amazing. We're going to do an IMCA stock car one coming up in January. It's already sold out. And I believe there's still some seats left in the 2023 Crate late model class that's going to be up in Pennsylvania. And that's the first time that Brian's gone up to the Northeast area.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth going to, trust me.
Yeah. There's just so much good information that you just can't get from anywhere else. Some of the smartest people in racing.
Yeah,
I think you're kind of smart.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I just know what I know. We'll put it that way.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can sense stupid, and you're not that.
All right.
so like smart, stupid, like not stupid means smart. No, I'm just teasing you.
Right.
Of course you're a smart guy. All right. So Bob's got a question. He says, what do you think about recovery tanks?
Yeah, I would absolutely run one for sure. I mean, we run one on my son's car.
Recovery tanks. I don't know
so basically what it does is, like, if you do get, because if you got the radiator topped off and you get liquid that goes out of it, right? Yeah. So then you got a recovery tank, and then it can come back in once everything cools down.
Oh.
So it keeps that system at a certain level.
I don't have those.
My brother used to make them actually at Mike's Custom Tanks, which he's no longer doing Mike's Custom Tanks. So I'm pretty sure Art makes them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll take a look at that. Since we're just talking about Brian and Race Logic, let me put this up on the screen because I'm pretty sure I have a race. There we go. If you want to sign up for that in-person class, it's at racelogic.vip. And again, racelogic.vip. And that's where you can get signed up. So, yeah, pretty easy. You can see some examples of some of the other classes we've had. I mean, I think a good example is to look at the 2022 class, because afterwards I might go there and film them and then put that online later on. Although you'd have to, buy it to be able to access all of it. Right. I think it's also helpful just to look at the titles of all the videos that are in there.
Yeah.
Because I do name them all. So you can see all of the chapter titles and all the things we talk about with shocks and spring smashers and all of that. So very, very helpful information there for sure. All right. Brian says, also good to safety wire the cap. Oh, hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people that do that. I've never personally done it, but yeah, makes perfect sense.
Cool. That'll work. Good deal. And Craig says, better known as an overflow tank, Kate. Yeah, I mean, I don't work on any of this, but I still don't have those on the shelf. So
no, like I said, my brother used to make them. I'm pretty sure Art does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at some point, it's just piece by piece. This is like, what would you call it? Almost like an operation, like the knee bone's connected to the hip bone kind of thing. Yeah. And, more and more, we just add more and more products.
Stop holding him back.
I know.
He wants to do cat things.
Pippi wants to do Pippi things, yes. I've got radiators. I now have that top line type stuff and fittings and radiator caps. Oh, yeah. So lots of front drive systems. Good things. And Brian says, if you need more forward bite, would you wedge it up, more left rear spring, or change trailing arm angles on dry slick? Okay, I'm going to tell you that I can't answer that question at all.
Well, I mean, first thing would trailing arm angles, depending on what you're, running for rear suspension. And it's also going to depend on whether you're running like a stop and go type of place. Stop and go is all about forward bite. So I go with angles first, personally.
It's the Instagram rule. It's all about the angles.
Yeah. I mean, I've driven cars all my life. I'm no expert on any of this stuff. I just basically got in. I was the nut behind the wheel kind of thing. And, but I can tell you, like back in the early days, back in the leaf spring days, stuff like that. I mean, we were doing everything we could to get forward bite, because, you had no side bite because it was leaf springs. So everything was about forward bite because most tracks were stop and go because of what we were running for suspension. And I mean, we were at
his stop, go, and 3-link.
Yeah, we were at angle. We were adding back in the day. We were adding half leaves and everything else just to get that forward drive.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Adding absolutely. Half leaves to leaf springs.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And we were buying Landrum springs, pulling them apart, cutting the spring in half, putting it under the main leaf. There was only half a leaf, putting the spring back together to where, because leaf springs wrap, which is what gives you the drive.
Okay.
We were doing all that shit, and God, it's old drag racing trick is what it was.
Oh.
Hence my dad. It was old leaf spring drag racer.
Yeah, your dad came from drag racing.
All the Mopars and everything he ever drove were all leaf springs. So Chrysler Leafs is what we were using. And we were doing all that stuff for forward drive, and that won me a lot of damn races, I can tell you that.
Good deal. And Brian says he gets his takes from Arts and gives a big thumbs up there. And Tommy says, yeah, sounds like me. I'm the nut behind the wheel. My cousin is the brain.
Exactly. We're just stupid enough to fucking drive the damn things. And I've had a concussion or fucking 4, so that doesn't help to the old brain power when it comes to doing stupid shit either.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gotta hurt. I think I've almost had a concussion one time, but I've never had a concussion.
No, I think we were talking about this the other night, and I ended up with like post-concussion syndrome at one point in my life, and God, I think I was only, what was I, like 20, 21 when I had post-concussion syndrome, because back then nobody knew what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't called
And
anything.
I had 3 concussions in one season racing, which was when I was 20. But hell, that shit lasted me 2 years. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah. And we got more leaf spring comments here. Brian says, back in my leaf days, I used to clamp the forward side of the left rear.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there was all sorts of tricks that everybody was trying, and I mean, like, and there's a big difference between multi-leafs and mono-leafs. Like when I first started racing, we were on multi-leafs, and then obviously that went to multi-leaf coilover, and then ultimately to swing arm, and then 4-bar and everything else, the transition through everything. But
reminds me of like the evolution diagram.
I am telling you though, some of the best racing ever is on fucking leaf springs. When everybody's got either monos or freaking multis, the racing is great. I mean, it's just, you actually got to be up on the wheel. You got to be a race car driver to actually win a race. Nowadays, it's almost like some of the stuff that I see, it's like anybody who can turn left is going to do good, So I'd compare that to Formula One drivers of today. Now, yes, is that a special technique? Absolutely. I mean, is Max Verstappen freaking amazing? Yes, he is. But it's comparing Formula One with a car that's supposed to do what it's supposed to do to, something from 1970 or 1980, right? Totally two different things. So the skill level and what it takes to actually do that is completely two different things. And it's...
Well, I'm not a race car driver, but ever since I've been driving, I have driven the most POS vehicles that exist.
Right.
I've driven vehicles where, between 10 and 2 is how you drive it just to keep it straight, because either you've got like it's not aligned, or there's like a broken something, like maybe an A-arm is like welded together or something. But yeah, instead of that precision steering, I think it's more fun to watch where you have to fight it.
A good example is this. Is there more skill involved in being Richard Petty in 1972 driving a Dodge Daytona at Daytona and doing 205 miles an hour with a bucket seat and a steering wheel this fucking big,
or Bubba Wallace,
or any of those guys going around Daytona right now with all the aerodynamics and all the cool shit doing 185?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it's even a question. I think
there's no question on where the talent was there,
No, well, that was when you had more talent, and it was more about talent than it was about just how much money your daddy had to bring to the table.
Back in those days, we also didn't have the safety equipment. Everybody was completely psycho, and you had to be 100% type A personality in order to do that shit.
Well, I mean, I think the safety equipment, obviously, I believe in all the safety equipment for ssure. And I don't think any of the safety equipment takes away from racing.
Well, it doesn't. No,
by
I'm just,
any means.
I didn't mean to say that.
No. But it is a big switch. It reminds me when I go skiing, and I really would want to push myself to do a little bit better, or challenge myself a little bit. But at the same time, I'm going down the mountain saying, I have no health insurance. I have no health insurance as I go back and forth, because, I figured if I didn't have at least one epic crash while I was skiing, that I just hadn't pushed myself hard enough.
Well, no, I mean,
I should be challenged.
I mean, my kid wouldn't be in a race car without all the best safety equipment possible. Mm-hmm. I did that back in the day. I mean, it was back when you had just regular fucking seats in a dirt late model. And like, you might, depending on, how much money you were willing to spend on your seat, you might have had like a headrest.
Okay.
That kind of shit. So
pretty crazy. Absolutely. Let's see. So Brian says, I still have an old, put this on the screen. Still have an old monoleaf Camaro. Been in the garage since 2004. Fiberglass with roller sliders.
Nice.
That's great. Awesome. Seems like the people who have run Leafs have a lot of nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
Tons of nostalgia.
Like I said, that was some of the funnest racing ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Justin says, Kate, so I'm having a live debate at the moment. So how do you guys ship shocks? Loosely in the box or excessive amounts of packing or bubble wrap? Okay, so I will answer this by saying that I actually don't ship shocks. I don't direct. If I'm selling shocks, I would ship them straight from the manufacturer. And in that case, they would probably be individually boxed. I would never send shocks where they're just clamping against each other like that. I don't think it needs to be overpacked because there's really nothing to break. It's not like liquids, but I wouldn't have them rambling all over the box.
So I mean, you don't beat them banging against each other.
Correct.
Obviously.
Yeah, because there's some sensitive parts in them, so I wouldn't have them banging around. But I wouldn't overpack them, but I certainly wouldn't just throw them to a box and then. I mean, I just know. I mean, does any box that's going to leave my place is probably going to be dropped 30 feet.
Well, you also don't want to load your race car in your race car trailer and drive from, I don't know, New York to fucking California with your shocks and springs on the car.
Right.
So
because you'll put more work on your shocks just getting to the racetrack, and heck, even if you're just going 50 miles.
Exactly.
Or 15 minutes even is more than that. And Mike says, yeah, cookie cutter cars have ruined racing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to agree. Brian says, yes, I have too many race cars. Can't let them all go.
That's awesome, though.
Hey, race cars are like Pokemon.
Honestly, I
wish
I still had some of my old stuff. I mean, like back when I won that, or quite a few back in California and stuff. I mean, like my favorite car was one. It was a Ford front clip. The rules at the time where it had to be, you had to have the cross member, and then I think it was 6 inches in front, 6 inches behind. Everything else was fabricated. So it was like Ford front clip, dirt late model, nice. Model leaf coilover.
Yeah.
God, that car was fun.
Oh, Craig said, great example. That's why he is the king. Richard Petty.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
Hippie goes between wanting attention and wanting to go outside.
Well, so I think he just settled down now. So.
No, he's not. He was just being patient.
Does he want tuna?
He already has tuna, and he got treats. So he's. I swear to God, this cat is so spoiled. So spoiled. Oh, the reason I had to get up a minute ago, not just now, but before, was you were talking about drill bits.
Yeah.
And how you're using spray lube for the drill bits.
You gave Alex and Mike one of those try out.
Yeah. So
awesome.
The one I want to talk about is actually a new product. Yeah. And this is a perfect time of year. It's called a pop bit. And it comes in this cute little like test tube packaging for anybody who's listening. But the purpose of this drill bit is one of the problems you can have with at the end of the year, you're pulling off your body and you want to drill out the rivets. So you're drilling out the rivets, and then all those rivets end up stacking up on your drill bit, and then you have to stand over the trash can with
pair of vice grips and doing that shit, trying to get them off there.
Yeah. Well, this is ingenious because the tip of this is slightly larger than the rest of the bit. Mm-hmm. So what happens is you'll have them stacked up on here, the little rivet, bodies on here. But then all you do is you take the drill bit off of your drill and you just put it over the trash can, and the rivets bodies will just fall straight into the trash. So really, really ingenious. It's one of those things where you're like, that is so simple that it's like, why didn't anybody think of it? It's like so obvious after the fact. So I'm really excited that PopBit, brand new company, Tommy East over there. And in fact, they're going to be, you can order these on my website at CrateInsider.com, but also they're going to be at the Cars Racing Show. So the Cars Racing Show in Hickory, North Carolina, January 6th and 7th. So they're signing up and they'll have a booth at the show, and that'll be kind of fun to see. And definitely join us at the trade show. And if you want advance tickets, you'll save money by buying your tickets now instead of waiting to get them at the door. And that's carsracingshow.com. I'll have to see if I have I probably have a banner for that. There we go.
And you have like a pretty good after hours thing planned this year.
Yeah. Friday night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Friday night should be a pretty good party.
Yep. So just a Friday, Saturday racing show. And so Friday night will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of racing shows, of course, this is PRI week. Mm-hmm. That starts on Thursday, goes through Saturday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I know a lot of the companies that we do business with are going to be up there displaying and have it 100% made a choice to whether I'm going or not. So Clearly, I'm not flying. If we go,
No.
drive,
I mean, it'll be a kind of a last minute thing, I think, if you guys want.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I can't. I've got too much work to do.
Yeah. So I may or may not be there, but anyway, I mean, we get a lot of questions or people who haven't been there before. I think it's good to answer a few of those or give some tips. I think my number one tip is to wear comfortable shoes.
Yeah, that's obvious because, well, I mean, not super obvious to a lot of people, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, you mean, don't buy a brand new pair of comfortable shoes and try to wear them to there because they'll be very uncomfortable later on.
Totally agree. All right, I'm going to backtrack for just a second because Steve Peen's here. He says, what was the car's date? January 6th and 7th. And the way you can remember that is because we hear so much talk about January 6th, and it is just how it happens that's when our show is. It is not because it's the 6th, it's because it's the Friday.
It's going to be the mostly peaceful protest anniversary.
Oh my God. Yeah, so it's the rebellion. The rebellion is on.
No, it's a mostly peaceful protest.
Damn
it. They can call it that. We can call it that too.
It's going to be a mostly peaceful racing event.
Exactly.
So, not to joke, I mean, whatever, but it just makes it so it's easy to remember.
Yep.
If you had something on any other significant dates. So it makes it easy to remember. That's all.
Our news has been talking about it for 2 fucking years now. So.
It has.
That's all I got to talk about.
Yeah. Another PRI tip I would say would be to do a little research beforehand and figure out who it is that you really, really, really want to talk to. Because even if you try to walk this show, there's plenty of shows or different things that I go to and without a solid plan where I'll just walk aisles or whatever. But with PRI, if there are some key people that you want to talk to,
go see that first.
Definitely figure it out beforehand. The maps are great for that.
Then walk the aisle.
Yeah, and then walk the aisles.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I would say those meetings are best done the earlier the better. I mean, if you wait till Saturday, that's when everybody's there.
And honestly, day one is the best day to go, in my opinion.
Totally is. Thursday. Yep. Because it's the least busy.
Yeah, because most people are going to be driving in for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. And I guess another tip I would have is to start at the FAR building. That's my secret sauce. I usually start at the FAR building and then work back because, that's what I do. Another one, I think there's a misconception about going to PRI to get sponsors. That's not really the place for that. I know it happens, but for the most part, it's really more about relationships. It's about thanking anybody, bringing your thank yous to anybody you've had any interaction with.
So the reason that happened is years ago, that's what would happen. Because it's the one time a year where everybody could get together and you could talk to people face to face. Nowadays, it's more of an inconvenience for anybody to be talking about that because they're basically going to look at you going, oh yeah, another driver portfolio. Wham. Throw that shit on the counter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where years and years ago, PRI it was a little bit about that. And now it's not. It's just the dynamics changed.
Well, marketing has changed.
Yeah, marketing has changed.
Because it used to be if you were a company, let's just say I've got my company in North Carolina and I want to try to capture some Iowa business. And I talk to a racer from Iowa who whether he wins races or, does a lot of meet and greets and there was that in-person component. Well, that would have been a great, hey, that's a driver I want to work with. And hopefully I can get more market share in that area. Right. Well, now that social media is the great equalizer, the internet's the great equalizer. Social media is very powerful and drivers still have a role in that. But if you haven't worked on creating an audience, I'm far more interested in what your reach is. Well, I care less about how many races you win. I care a lot more about how big your audience is.
Would you disagree with me? I mean, now it's more of an annoyance than anything else for a lot of people. Now, what it is good for is if you're already purchasing product from this company, to go there and put a face with a name. Yeah. Yeah. Because a face with a name goes a lot further than going in there and going, man, will you give me $150 off? Or, I mean, you know what I mean? Or I want a free drive shaft, or I want free headers or whatever. Yeah. So that goes a lot further by just putting a face with a name because you're already dealing with them.
Yeah.
then most of the salesmen you deal with from a lot of these companies will be there.
So. Well, let me. I will agree with you 100%, but I would also like to couch this in a slightly different way.
You want to caveat this?
Imagine that you are at a race. You are 15 minutes away from going out to race in the feature. Do you want a salesman coming up to you and instead of you being able to focus on your race car, now you've got to focus on whatever it is that they're talking about?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of piss you off. Yeah. Why do these companies go to PRI? Why are they're spending thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars? Yep. And why is that? They're there to talk with dealers and get dealers set up, to interact with any companies, a lot of business to business things going on. Mm-hmm. They're there to sell. This is their feature race. Do they really want to be stopped by a salesman? And that's really what you are at that point.
Right. And, that being said, let's contrast that to the show you and Jimmy are doing.
Ours is way more low key.
It's way more low key. There's a lot less people there, obviously. Again, don't bring the whole I want free shit pamphlet. But at least at that point, you get to talk to owners. Right. And salesmen and everything else. So it's a little different deal.
Well, I would say that, we don't have like the ginormous companies that come and do our show. We have a lot of the independent, it's very much relationship based. I think a lot of deals get done, just deals in general get done at our show because it's not super packed with it. It's not all the hype. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it in a negative way, but like you go to PRI and you have every single racing publication, whether they're a podcast or a magazine or whatever. Everybody.
I can give you an example. Sure. So my good friend, Jim Bernhousel, I raced his cars for years, Laser Chassis in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Ran his cars for years. You go to PRI, Jim's like swamped, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So not the greatest place to talk to him about certain things, but like you go to your show and Jim will be there at your show. Great place to talk to Jim about stuff because he can probably take a half an hour with you and talk to you about a certain topic. You go to PRI and try to do that, you might have 3 minutes with him.
Well, I mean, we're a show that's literally like 1/10 of the size. Yeah. So PRI can be up to like 1,300 booths, and we're like 100. Right. And there's like 50 or 60,000 people. Right. And ours is like 5,000 people. Right. So it's a
lot more intimate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's it's all really relevant too for, this. I think anybody who's here is probably involved in circle track racing of some kind.
Yeah. And I will say like some of these trade shows are going away from circle track stuff and it's more, tuner and drag racing shit.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So I'll be curious. Brian says, do you feel that there is widespread use of Shannon Davis products or Tech West? Just curious. I'm not familiar with Tech West, but Davis Technologies and the.
I used to own a traction control back years ago when I ran the Carolina Clash because everyone else did, and back then, yes, I'd say with the modern technology that we have nowadays on dirt late models. Probably not so much in that realm. Look at some asphalt stuff. I'd say it's probably being used quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Different. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't sell those because, they're not legal in most, but Shannon, that guy is.
Shannon's cool shit. He
is funny and entertaining. He only
lives like right up the road from us. So,
I haven't seen him in years.
I remember when I bought my unit, I met him in Asheville and he drove his Mini Cooper down. He's like, here you
go. It's just funny. It's kind of like doing a drug deal on the side.
It was what it was. It was like a drug deal, but it was a fucking traction control deal, which is essentially the same thing in the racing realm.
What was funny today, we look out the window and there's the UPS truck and it's under this, there's this I don't know, carport looking thing. I mean, it's a tall carport looking thing, whatever that roof thing is across the street. And there's a van backed up to the back of the UPS truck. And I'm like, that just looks sketch. It just looks sketch. Oh, man. Oh, Cameron's here. You haven't seen Cameron on the show for a while from Florida.
What time is it?
He says, I'm finally back. It's great to see you all. Happy holidays. Hope to see you all. Been busy working on tires.
There you go.
Cool deal. It's like 7:54.
All right, I gotta go watch football.
Okay.
I gotta knock this shit
Gotta
out.
wrap it up. We're
Wrap
wrapping
it
it up. Well, congratulations to all of our winners. Do you have any final thoughts for the day?
I don't know. If you're going to Indy, pack a can of Narcan with you, because you might save a hobo. Because last time we were there was a bunch of them motherfuckers on the street. So,
Ooh, and I heard that was just the starter pack.
Exactly.
But I don't like talking trash about anything.
No.
I mean, for all of our friends going to PRI, like I said, not sure. I'm still on the fence, but for everybody's going, I mean, have a great time. It is a fantastic show, and also keep in mind coming down to North Carolina to the Cars Racing Show January 6th and 7th.
Yep.
So, hey, thank you all for being here. Thanks for. I see Patsy saying amen.
Yeah, she saw that shit tonight.
Oh, Pat is here from Fast Shafts, and I have a big thank you for Fast Shafts. I got a wonderful Christmas present from Pat today. So welcome. He says, wrap it up. We are wrapping it up. And my great show is always, I know your friend Pat saying amen, probably for football.
No, it was for the Narcan.
Oh,
she was there tonight and witnessed the whole damn thing.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for watching. And we will look forward to seeing you next week and have a good one.
Adios.